Entrepreneur with your host, Oskar Woehr. We're live, by the way. Needed to say that so that you actually know that we're live. And it's not just some random red button that's flashing. Let's go. So this is a special podcast episode on the Authentic Entrepreneur. And today is a very special episode. I do not have a guest. And actually, I was supposed to record a podcast right now with a guest, but they didn't show up. And this was a podcast. So I decided to do plan B, which was a podcast I did want to record anyway, just by myself. And that podcast involves talking about my date with destiny experience, because this is an event that probably most people haven't heard of. And if you have heard of it, you might not have been, because it's quite an expensive event. And you really need to fucking want it to go. And I want to share my Date with Destiny experience with you today. I went a couple of weeks ago now. So it's still very fresh in my mind, but also still I've had time to reflect and just implement. And I'm very excited to share what's behind the scenes of Date with Destiny. So in this video, in this podcast, what I want to share with you are a few things. Firstly, what does it look like, the event? What do you have inside? What can you learn? What is it really about? Because Date with Destiny is such a big title. Secondly, what did I like? What did I not like? What are my takeaways? And what did I learn? And then thirdly, how is this going to change my life? And how would it change your life if you went? And there was another thing that I wanted to talk about, actually. We'll figure it out as we go along. And let's start with basically, what is Date with Destiny? It is, to put it lightly, one of the craziest events I've ever been to. And I've been to a shit ton of events. I love events. But this event, 6 days long, you go for about 14 to 16 hours per day with a 30-minute break, maybe a 1-hour break in the middle. And then, so already that sounds crazy. But if you've ever been to a Tony Robbins event, you know how crazy they are. But so UPW is usually the event that most people know. And then you get upsold to Date with Destiny. You get offered to go to Date with Destiny. And you can't even imagine, actually. They have similar topics, but Date with Destiny is just like the UPW, but on steroids. Because there are similar topics here. But what's really cool is that Date with Destiny does have a different purpose. In UPW, for everybody who doesn't know, the main goal of the event is to help you understand what's stopping you from getting what you want. And so one of the core principles or theories that Tony Robbins implements and trains, is 6 human needs, for example. And this is brought up in Date with Destiny as well. 6 human needs, by the way, awesome concept, scientifically proven. Well, a few psychologists that agree with it. And I'm sure you can probably find research denying it as well. But instinctively, you can understand that humans have needs, and you can probably categorize these needs. So the principle that Robbins uses is boiled down into 6 human needs. It says humans need certainty, humans need variety or uncertainty, they need connection or love, they need significance, they need growth, and they need contribution. And the first 4 are the most essential, and the other 2 are more growth, and it's more spiritual, or going beyond just being attached to your ego, for example. And what it tries to help you understand is that you can shift which needs you operate from. I've been to UPW twice, and I understood this concept theoretically, but I didn't understand it physically. And this was really cool, because I was always wondering, how does Tony have so much energy to keep going for 16 hours a day? I think that was day 2 of Date with Destiny, or day 3. He he did it all almost by himself. I think he inserted one video just to catch his breath, but basically was talking almost the whole time and doing interventions, and it's fucking intense. So like, holy shit, how does he have that much energy even after doing day one? Probably half by himself. And he has some other trainers, but it was actually a majority of him, which is crazy. And actually, yeah, something pretty surprising happened at the end, which I'll share later. That happened to him because he had been so intense on himself. And I'm gonna go into the book right now. So I'm gonna to share the main takeaways and share a bit about what each day is. Day one, I'm not gonna share everything because of course I still want you to go and experience it. And by the way, yeah, just me sharing it does not compare at all to what you would do if you were there. I was in virtual, and luckily I brought my girlfriend and another friend, and we had a great time. And it does help to have more people with you, so that you get each other pumped up, which is very important. But I would still recommend if you want to do it virtually. You can do it by yourself. Still an amazing experience. And the first day is very basic. Well, for a Tony Robbins standard, it's very similar to UPW. Day one is basically UPW. It's condensed into one, because you go over 6 human needs, the mind maps, like how do people perceive life, and having a map for how perception happens. And then your habitual emotions, which is also in UPW. And then one cool thing that's not in UPW is the power of effective blaming and how to blame effectively. Now that I'm reading this again, actually, I'm remembering that they didn't even stick to the schedule. Like the stuff that is in supposedly day one, we did it in day two. So this is how it's mapped out here. And maybe I will even just highlight what I enjoyed, because they don't even go through everything. They really trust the process in terms of if there's a person that starts to speak, like one member from the audience, and they have some really tough shit to sort out, then Tony will just keep working with them until they have that mindset shift. I think it's on day 2 or day 3 that they ask people that are suicidal to stand up. And then that's when the whole crowd goes holy shit, you're going to work with, people who have gotten to that point in life and try and help them. And what you experience after that is mind blowing, because Tony does not give up. He's you need to have a breakthrough. You need to change your mind. You need to understand that life is beautiful. And of course, he doesn't say it's like this. He just helps them to understand what story have they been telling themselves that's gotten them to see life as not worth it. Because if you're considering that option, then you might have some beliefs around not thinking that the living option is worth it. So this is really powerful, because, well, actually, I'm not going to share what was in this event because it's very confidential, I assume, and also, very personal to the people there. There were 6,000 people though in this event, and just so you get the magnitude of it, 1,000 people live, and then 5,000 on Zoom. And well, for people who've been to UPW virtually, you might be that's not too much, because there was 20 or 30,000 in UPW lately. So this is a lot more intimate, you could say, but still fucking huge. But you get to get on the big screen quite a few times, and we were dancing there, which is cool. But yeah, imagine him just getting a person to shift out of the belief that life is not worth it to really focus on what life is about and how they can do that, and how they can just shift that belief is insane. And it's like magic. It's crazy. So those are this maybe the most insane moments of the event. And basically, for how can we say? I don't want to say. For most people, what you go through here is basically understanding what you've been doing, your patterns until this point of life, and how they've created the life that you have right now, and how your life would look like if those patterns continued, and what patterns do you need. And this doesn't just mean like habits, like physical habits, but also mental thought patterns. And how you identify that is through understanding what stories you're telling yourselves. Stories can also be interpreted as beliefs. And what rules do you have for living the life that you want? Rules. We have rules? Yeah. You have conscious and subconscious rules. And that's what this event helps you do, to become aware of them so that you can change. One super powerful exercise that he does at the end, towards the last 2 days, is gets you to understand your values. So you write them down, like your top. He separates values into 2 categories, actually: towards values and away values. And towards values are like the values that will drive you forward. You want to go towards these values, these emotions, these feelings. And away from values is values that emotions and feelings that drive you away from something. And usually to make these values work, to have them, it's like, let's say I value uniqueness a lot. I don't value it as much anymore because I removed it from my list, but it's still a bit present. But I would say it used to be like my number 1 value, or one of my top ones. Right now, it's not. And the reason I changed it, I'll go into in a little bit. But imagine what does a person with number 1 value of uniqueness need to do? Or do? Like, it serves me and it challenges me. Like, there's always a positive and a negative for everything. And so, like, for example, a positive way that uniqueness would serve me is that I am very diversity and new experience driven, and wanting to come up with new ways to do things, maybe innovation, stuff like that, and trying new experiences, love to travel, making a lot of friends easily because I want to try new. But other side, if the uniqueness is the top value, then I might be stopping myself from like dedicating a lot of time to one thing because it can get boring, and actually seeing it through to the end or to where the goal should be, instead of getting distracted by shiny objects, which is what I had been. And that was like my old story. And so I needed to realize what that value had been so I could switch my story and the way I'd been living my life to the new direction, which was aligned with the goals that I actually had. And that, like, now I still have like similar goals, but I just know what was stopping me from getting to those goals because of the values that had been holding me back, which is super cool. And then you might be thinking, how the fuck can you just rewire values? Well, you can. And of course, it's not going to be an easy process like, yep, I decide that uniqueness is not my value anymore. No, it's getting it inside your body. And what that means is, well, I think you have to experience it at a Tony Robbins event, or maybe my own event in the future, because I will be doing this, is that he gets you to be very active and jumping around, having fun. And what that's doing, like just the dancing and jumping around, is moving your nervous system. And your nervous system is very linked to your subconscious. And so when you're shouting, so activating your vocal cords and making a move with your body that's anchoring the words that you're saying, then they get imprinted, maybe just a little bit, but still imprinted, and with repetition gets reinforced to stick into your subconscious mind. So like, if I'm saying, uniqueness does not serve me, I'm making a move, I'm saying my new value is courage and determination and love, which is what I have now. And the reason that I have those is because this, and this will serve me my goals. And then you really get super excited to really put it inside your body. First of all, you remember a lot more because your body being activated, your nervous system being activated, makes it stick inside your long-term memory. And also, whenever you create triggers or anchors, such as like power moves, then that can help you recall those words, for example. And the more you do it, like it's anything, repetition. Repetition is the mother of all skill. Then they will become more and more automatic. And how about getting rid of the uniqueness part? Well, I didn't want to get rid of it. I still like it. It still serves me in a little way, but I just didn't want to be like the number one. But for example, I had some away from values that I didn't want, which was like frustration or hesitation. And this is like especially powerful in sales calls. Like being hesitant to find a solution or hesitant to offer something else. And that doesn't help me. It doesn't help me help people. It doesn't help me to serve people, to create solutions that can make the world a better place. And so I wanted to remove hesitancy and what you need to do to be able to remove something and associate pain with it. So that's what we also do. Is to say, no more, I will not be hesitant because it has ruined my life in this way, and this way, and this way. And if I keep doing it, it will cause this, 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 and have such severe consequences that I would, feel like shit. And I need to remove it so that I can achieve this goal, this goal, this goal. So it's basically like getting you to associate negative with it, and then reinforce why it needs to change with positive. And I thought that's such a cool shift that can happen. It's like, seems simple, and which is a beautiful thing actually, because it's very understandable, but it's not. And trying to do this by yourself is, it's very doable, maybe. But just imagine the power and the acceleration in life that you can have just by knowing and being more aligned with your goals. Like right now, I have a top goal for my business, and I know exactly how it needs to happen, and I know what could stop me, like my mental blocks. But with the new values that I have and the new, habits that I'm determined to create and keep on reinforcing, I'm going to reach it. And so that's the most powerful thing. Because the future has several names. For the weak, it is impossible. For the faint-hearted, it is unknown. For the thoughtful and valiant, it is ideal. I hope this is the right way around. Or if the screen is mirrored, I just read that to you. You can see the book is pretty thick. There's a lot of stuff that we go through here. I want to share with you a couple more takeaways. I only mentioned the structures a little bit in terms of the days, but that was day one. No, it wasn't only day one, but day two is evaluation day, which is basically understanding the map of how beliefs are created. This is one of the most theoretical, you could say, but still simplified and broken down from theories. And probably one of the most interesting, like tickling my brain, the majority, even though there wasn't much transformation happening. Yeah. And it really helps you to understand how your brain works. It's crazy. Like, even though I studied 4 years of psychology, if I had probably done this event before, I might have been like years ahead of anybody in my class, because the way that's explained in such an event is so simplified, but so perfect that it makes understanding psychology so easy. And I'm not going to say easy, because it's a lot of information. But once you go to one or two or more of these events, you start to see the patterns and you understand, oh yeah, this does make sense. This does make sense. This does make sense. And then you can even go look up the research, because it doesn't reference any research. This is one complaint. Not really. One thing that I would say they could improve with Robbins research is to reference their sources of information. Even if they just got this, it was just theories and hypotheses before. Now there's a shit ton of research in psychology, and most of these principles that they teach and they reinforce and they train you on are valid. And there's, research that can back it up done by somebody else, but they don't share that. I would love for them to share it. I think that would be super cool. Yeah. As you can tell, this podcast is a little bit all over the place, but it's because there's so much information. And I think what you will take out is what you will need. So feel free to skip around. And remember, one of the sayings that Tony has a lot and says quite often is that you get what you need the most. So if nothing until this point resonated with you, then maybe it's about to come up. Or maybe later. Or maybe not resonating with anything could be a lesson for you of like, why didn't that resonate? Does that mean like you need to learn something before learning this so that you can understand it better? You get what you need. Just be open to the new information, whatever appears in your life. One sentence metaphor that I really liked. No, delete that. Oh yeah, talking about, so this is like in part of the day 2. We were talking about like rules and what rules do you have for life? Like in order to be happy, I need to blah, 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 blah. First of all, even being conscious of that is not very common because people are like, yeah, I can just be happy, meditate and do fun things and that makes me happy. And if happiness is something that you want and you're not experiencing it, then ask yourself, what rules do you have for experiencing happiness? But like, don't just ask it like this, because this is then the answer is coming from your head. And our brain is designed to keep us safe, to generalize, to delete bad experiences. And if you're speaking from a place of just like not being active or not having your nervous system activated, then you're speaking from your head. What we want to do and what they do in this event is to keep on jumping around and activate your body so you're speaking more connected to your subconscious mind. Because your nervous system is related to your subconscious. So that's what's cool. And, ooh, one viewer, what's up? Say hi in the chat. Day 2, what we did talk about is the rules. Rules for happiness, rules for whatever you need in life, whatever you want in life, and seeing if the rules that you put for yourself match with what you want. So let's say like, oh, you want to be successful. To be successful, what rules do you have for that? Oh, I need to be making $1 million per year. And then what? So then you'll be happy? Then you'll be successful? So until then, you cannot be happy. Like, what kind of bullshit rule is this? Rules are the construct of a mind. This is the quotes that I wrote down. Not of the spirit and the soul. And the, spirit and soul. And so, one thing that they helped me realize is that letting go of rules helps you to simply experience, which is what we want to do in the day. We just want to be. We are beings. We're not doings. And what we focus on is what we get more of. So if we're focusing on what we don't have, which would be success or happiness or whatever, then we're going to focus on not having it. And we're not going to be able to experience and enjoy the life that you actually have. Remember, the mind is a tool. And here's some insights that I wrote down from day 2, that you don't need to wait / accomplish things to be how you want to be. You can simply be. Like maybe from me just saying it, it's kind of a hard concept to grasp. But if you get that, you can just be what you want to be, then like all of life's problems go away, which is so cool. And that time is just an emotion. I can be how I want to be right now. Like if you want to be happy, successful, whatever, these are just the words that usually come to my mind. You can be them right now. If you understand that you have rules for them and that these rules are bullshit, then you can be happy, successful, whatever, healthy. But you might be like, oh, but I don't have what I don't have. Yeah. And so what? Just be. That's the power of understanding that. So it's like, for example, if work is the main focus and you sell your business, make sure that you have a plan that's even bigger afterwards. Like a lot of people that attend this event are business owners. And there was a dude that was about to sell his business. And one of his main focuses had been work his whole life. And so he's going to sell his business. And then what is he going to do with his life? Because his focus has been so much on work, his mind's still going to try and focus on work, but it's not going to be any there. So he's going to create his own suffering then. So what he would need to understand is that he needs to change his focus from only focusing on work to relationships or the self more, so that he can really enjoy what he's doing. Yeah, thought that was a really cool concept. Okay, I have been rambling on for quite a lot of time. I do wish there were some people that would ask questions, actually, that I could just answer. One awesome concept is the triad. This is a classic Tony Robbins concept, and basically how you can shift your state of mind in 90 seconds just by changing your focus, changing your language you're using, and changing the physiology. So like, let's say you just got dumped, and the story in your head is going, oh, I suck, or oh, she or he is a bitch, and my life is over, or I hate the situation. That shit will make you feel bad. First of all, listen to what you're saying to yourself, language, where you're focusing, which is the lack. You're focusing on what doesn't exist anymore. And probably the body language is like very caved in or looking downwards. And so simply by changing those three things, simply, right, in quotation marks, you can shift your perspective and, well, enjoy life and focus on what you can do. Because if you got dumped, and if it was like a mutual dumping or whatever, you can still be sad. But your brain wants to protect you and be like, oh my God, I can't survive without this person. What do I do? But that's not helpful, because this is just focusing on this is just the survival mind telling you, trying to protect you, like wanting to get back into the relationship or trying to find something that can distract you and not helping you get to where you want to be, which would probably be another relationship that's healthy, happy, and makes you grow, or something else like a hobby or a skill that will help you get to your goals. But instead, your mind will be like, I want to make you suffer a little bit, just so that you never do that again, because it associates pain with that experience. But if you can realize that this is a gift, that this happens to you, no, this happens for you, not to you, then your whole perspective can change. Because if you just got dumped, then there's lots of ways, there's lots of benefits from that. Like you will be able to actually find the right person afterwards. And now you'll have a time to do other things, or you'll have more mind space, and maybe you didn't need to be in a relationship with this person for a lot of reasons. And so now you're able to go even further in life. And so simply focusing on what is possible and how life is happening for you is one of the biggest takeaways, and really the beautiful message that if it gets anchored in your mind, which is what they do during this event, is what can change your life. Ooh, I did mention, so story, like what story you're telling yourself. And just like a quick recap, 7 elements of a story are firstly desire, like something that drives a story. Second one is a problem or need, because this is something that's not solved. Third is opponents, like who's there, external, internal, intimate. Fourth is having a plan to overcome everything. Fifth is the battle part. Sixth is the self-revelation. And seventh is bringing back to equilibrium. And they shared this so that you could understand what a story looks like. And because story is a pattern. And what Tony does is trying to help you recognize patterns so you can break them or change them, or reinforce them if you want them. And so understanding the pattern of a story helps you to see, is this a story that's helpful or not? Yeah. So day 2, they ask you, what's the story of your life been until now, and what do you want it to be? And yeah, I've been recording for over 30 minutes. It's been quite long. I have no idea if this is valuable. I've shared quite a lot, and it's been a bit all over the place. Who is this for? This event is for everyone. Because if you want something in life, and it's like a big goal, or you want to achieve great things, or even if you don't, like, first of all, why don't you? We're meant for greatness, and if you're not thinking big, then maybe you've been suppressing it. But and it doesn't need to be big, like successful business, not at all. It can just be like helping grandmas cross the street even more, or like growing bigger gardens, If it's something that you want to do, then you probably want to do more of it, right? And so understanding what's stopping you from doing more is what this event will help you realize. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because there are always things blocking us. And that's okay. The problems are a part of human life. But it's how we face our problems that will determine our destiny. And so who's this for? Anyone, really. Highly advise anyone who's interested to check it out, to go for it. I don't think you can sign up just like that. So you need to usually sign up to this event after having attended another Tony Robbins event. But yeah, if you're new to Tony Robbins, check out the UPW. That is Unleash the Power Within. There's one happening in March virtually on the American time zone, and then one happening in July in Birmingham in the UK, which I will be attending. Because I've only been to the virtual event, so I really wanted to go to an in-person one. And I remember the first time I went to a Tony Robbins event, I was like, what it made me realize was that it made me hear my brain. Like, the fuck? No, it made me understand. Yeah. Maybe be able to distinguish and bring awareness to when I was operating from fear versus abundance, or like certainty and love. And right now, if you haven't been to any events or like haven't really gotten excited and done this process that he does, then you might not have that awareness. And that's okay. And you might not even be understanding what the fuck I'm saying. But once you've done it, once you've gone through one of his events, UPW or Date with Destiny, then you understand this difference. And your life will never be the same, because you'll be like, holy shit, I wasn't acting in integrity then. Like, let me fix that. Let me get better. Before it was just like acting like out of ego if something didn't work out the way I wanted to. And first of all, it doesn't make you feel good anyway. But you're like, oh, this is just the way I am. But no, it's not the way you just the way you are. Humans are beautiful. And I believe that everyone can understand their mind better and can have a date with their destiny so that they can learn what their destiny is and go for what they want. So, Date with Destiny will help you clarify what your destiny is, what your destiny may be, and basically give you a fire under your ass that'll be so hot that, yeah, you will accomplish your goals no matter what. So, much love. Thank you for listening up to this point, and I'll see you on the next time. Peace. Thank you so much for listening to The Authentic Entrepreneur, hosted by myself, Oskar Woehr. Before you leave, please go make sure to follow us on Instagram. And again, thank you so much to the amazing guest this episode.